You talked there, Ben, about coming to politics quite late, and you said you hadn't really given it much thought. But you said you met Michael Gove, and that you were a bit disillusioned by that.
Yeah,
But what?
it was a wake-up call.
Yeah, a bit of a wake-up call. But did that actually then immediately, right? That's it. Actually, I'm going to go into electoral politics.
No, not at all. Not at all. I
Quite a big leap, really.
Yeah, it was a huge leap. I mean, you labour on in what turned out to be false hope that the Conservative Party was going to deliver Brexit.
Yes.
This was still at a time when this was June 2018, when Theresa May was talking about no deal's better than a bad deal, nothing's agreed till everything's agreed. You kind of believe what you're hearing, don't you? It takes a while for the penny to really fully drop that these people have no intention of delivering what they say they're going to deliver. That penny eventually dropped in March 2019 when we were meant to leave. Do you remember on the 29th of March 2019, the 2-year Article 50 period had ended, and I thought, well, we're not going to be leaving. We're never going to leave this malignant institution that is the European Union. And I was kind of mouthing off, and someone said, "Do you want to meet Nigel Farage? He's setting up the Brexit Party." And I met Nigel. We got on well, and then I stood for the Brexit Party. And then
in London, wasn't it? It was
in London, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
With Lance Foreman.
With Lance Foreman, yeah. We were the 2 London MEPs that were returned. We nearly got a 3rd MEP, but we were the 2.
What was it like actually being in the institution over there, in Brussels?
It confirmed everything that I suspected of the EU, that the Parliament is a fig leaf, that it has no real legislative authority. It can't initiate a legislation. It can't really block it. It can give the impression that it can block it, but things are sewn up in committee before they really ever get to Parliament. There are parliamentary groupings, as I'm sure you know, Peter, and these groupings, the largest groupings, are controlled effectively by those pro-European Union forces and the Commission, and all the votes are basically sewn up before they even get to Parliament. And of course, that's only the ordinary legislative process that goes through the European Parliament. There's a special legislative process which doesn't come anywhere near Parliament, which is done by the European Union Council, the ministers from the various governments who do that. So it's a fig leaf of a democracy. If you want to debate anything, you're given like 30 seconds or a minute and a half if you're lucky, and they switch your mic off. And so I didn't see my job really in participating in an institution that I would abolish. I just used it as a platform to make the case for Brexit.
Yes, I mean those kind of they are good for platforms, particularly if you are smaller parties, for example, the London Assembly, or even the Welsh Assembly, I suppose. But so, okay, you've got the by-election. There's obviously going to be a general election coming up. No chance of any deals with Tories, I think.
No deals. No deals.
Absolutely none.
None. None.
Do you think it was a mistake before?
It was. Absolutely. It was a mistake to stand down 317 Brexit Party parliamentary candidates absolutely wholesale against the Tories. There were at least 120 Tories that we stood down against who voted Remain, were ardent Remainers. Brexit was never going to be delivered because we had a parliamentary party that didn't believe in it. And actually the Brexit Party put them there. And I didn't want to get back into party politics, partly because of that.
Right.
After 31st January 2020, I went on fighting the Brexit fight. I went on fighting for fishing, and famously, I went on fighting for Northern Ireland because I could see that the Northern Ireland Protocol was a grappling hook into the flesh of the United Kingdom, that was the mechanism by which they would never let us really do our own thing. And as it turns out, I think they've succeeded in that. And they are also going to succeed, as they used to say, that Northern Ireland is going to be the price of Brexit. And Northern Ireland isn't part of the United Kingdom anymore. We've talked a lot about the political failings of this country, a political class that doesn't believe in the United Kingdom. They've ripped Northern Ireland out. What kind of government would allow part of its country to be governed by foreign laws? The Americans booted us out of the United States of America because they had taxation without representation. That's what we've done to Northern Ireland.
Yes. And Well, actually, what kind of country? I mean, that was the terrible thing. Then, when you said you had the scales fell from your eyes about, Brexit generally. I think that time was such a bad time. It really did show our institutions in a new light. At least it did for me or many people. To think this country doesn't really care, or these people do not care really about this country at all, or even about the survival of the United Kingdom, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the easiest way to know that they don't care is that if you go to a dinner party and you talk proudly about our British history, or you might say you're proud of the Union Jack. I get a very good feeling in my stomach when I see the Union Jack. I'm sure you do, Peter. It does something to me. There's something emotional that happens to me when I see the Union flag. And if you were to say that in polite discourse with the intelligentsia of the United Kingdom, they would look at you as if you've lost the plot.
And they'd probably tell you to get out.
Yeah, probably tell you to get out. And this is not an accident. This is because those that govern us have allowed this kind of belief to be embedded. The reason people of our age don't buy it so much is because when we were children and being educated, we were told, actually, Winston Churchill was a kind of good guy. He saw off the Nazis. Not that he was a white supremacist like St. Paul's Cathedral had. Did you know that? They put him out as and we didn't have an Archbishop of Canterbury that wanted to pay reparations for the slave trade. And in one declaration like that, undermining the entire history of the United Kingdom. That's what the Archbishop of Canterbury is. Now we find out he's actually aiding and abetting illegal migration.
Yes. I mean, and that is it. It's not even, I'm afraid, I don't know about Welby, but I don't even think it's just naivety. I think that many of them are actually political animals.
Did you hear about the deacon? I don't know how much time we've got. But did you hear about the deacon of Trinity College, Cambridge, saying to his congregation, this was about a year ago, saying to his Jesus must be transgender because he looks quite effeminate.
Oh yes,
in his depictions. He had his congregation in tears. Now, if you've got an Archbishop of Canterbury that thinks your history's awful, that Jesus was potentially transgender, where are we going?
Yes. To hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, exactly.
But we won't.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much indeed for that, Ben. Thank you. That's Ben Habib.